Welcome in, everybody. It's the most wonderful time of the year. At least that's what the songs tell us. And you know what that means, right? It's time for another deep dive. And this time, we're unwrapping Christmas.
Unwrapping Christmas, huh? I like it. When you say Christmas, most people probably think they know what it's all about, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going way beyond the carols and the presents here. We've got some historical accounts, some cultural analyses, and even some fascinating economic data to dig into.
Sounds like we're in for a real treat. Where do we even begin with something like this?
Well, I guess the obvious place to start is with the basics. Christmas is all about celebrating the birth of Jesus, right? It's a Christian holiday at its core.
Yeah, for sure. The story of Jesus' birth is told in the Bible, and that's what Christians around the world commemorate on Christmas.
Right. But here's where things get really interesting. A lot of the traditions we associate with Christmas, like decorating trees and having those big feasts, they actually predate Christianity.
That's right. They have roots in ancient Roman celebrations. Specifically, their winter solstice celebrations like Saturnalia.
Saturnalia, it sounds kind of like Santa. Tell me more about this ancient Roman party.
Well, Saturnalia was a time for feasting and gift-giving, and even some role reversals where slaves would be served by their masters. It was a time of revelry and kind of turning the social order upside down for a bit.
Wow, that's pretty wild. But how did those traditions make their way into Christmas?
Good question. As Christianity spread, they often incorporated elements of existing local customs.
Oh, that makes sense. They'd adapt to make it easier for people to, embrace the new religion.
Exactly. And so those pre-Christian traditions gradually got woven into the fabric of Christmas over time.
One of the things that always strikes me about Christmas is the emphasis on light. Like everywhere you look, there's candles and bonfires and twinkling lights. It's pretty magical.
It is, and that's not by accident. Light has always been a powerful symbol, especially during the darkest time of the year.
Oh, I see. Like in the depths of winter, when the days are short, all that light represents hope.
Exactly. And for Christians, it also takes on a special meaning. Light symbolizes Jesus coming into the world, often referred to as the light of the world.
Wow, so all those Christmas lights aren't just pretty decorations, they're packed with symbolism.
They really are. And it's not just the lights. Almost every aspect of Christmas is full of symbolism and tradition. Speaking of which, one of the things that's so fascinating about Christmas is how differently it's celebrated around the world.
Oh, absolutely. Reading through these sources was like taking a whirlwind tour of global Christmas customs. And honestly, I'm ready for another trip already.
All right, where to?
Well, I have to say, the German Christmas markets sound absolutely magical.
Yeah.
Those wooden stalls selling handcrafted ornaments, steaming mugs of Glühwein, and the smell of roasted chestnuts filling the air. Sign me up.
Yeah, those sound amazing. And don't forget about the UK. They've got their own unique traditions like Christmas crackers.
Christmas crackers. I've never heard of those.
Oh, they're so fun. They're like little paper tubes that you pull apart, and there's a bang, and inside you find a paper crown, a little toy, and a cheesy joke. It's a very British thing.
Oh, that does sound fun. Okay, so we've got Germany with their charming markets and the UK with their quirky crackers. What about here in the US? Any standout traditions?
Well, you can't talk about Christmas in the US without mentioning the decorations. Some people go all out, creating these elaborate light displays that are practically visible from space.
Huh. You're right, it's true. Americans do love to go big with their decorations. But out of all the traditions from our sources, the one that really caught my eye was from Mexico, Las Posadas.
Yes, Las Posadas. It's a really special tradition.
Tell me more about it.
It's a procession where people reenact Mary and Joseph's search for shelter. They go from house to house, singing carols and asking for lodging, just like Mary and Joseph did.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful. It really captures the essence of community and hospitality that Christmas is all about.
It does, and it highlights how different cultures have taken the core story of Christmas and adapted it to reflect their own values and beliefs. It's a beautiful blend of the sacred and the cultural. And those cultural adaptations, they're all over the place. Our sources even mention how Christmas is celebrated in Japan.
Oh, yeah. How do they do Christmas in Japan?
It's more of a secular holiday there, and get this, a popular Christmas Eve meal is fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Yeah.
For Christmas. That's so unexpected. What's the story behind that?
Well, apparently KFC ran a really successful marketing campaign back in the 70s promoting fried chicken as a Christmas meal, and it just took off.
Wow, so Christmas in Japan is brought to you by KFC. That's wild. But it really shows how these traditions can change and evolve, doesn't it?
It does.
Mm.
And speaking of evolution, one thing that we can't ignore is the commercial side of Christmas. It's become a huge shopping extravaganza.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I love giving and receiving gifts as much as the next person, but it does make you wonder how we got from the simple exchange of gifts to, like, Black Friday madness. Did our sources talk about that at all?
They did. It's actually pretty interesting to trace the evolution of gift giving throughout Christmas history. It started small, with early Christians exchanging simple gifts as a symbol of sharing and generosity.
Right, like a symbolic gesture of, like, community and goodwill.
Exactly. But over time, especially in the last century, it's become, well, what we see today, a massive commercial event.
One thing that really surprised me was learning about the role that Coca-Cola played in shaping our modern image of Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah. Their advertising in the early 1900s really solidified that image of the jolly, red-suited Santa that we all know and love. Talk about the power of marketing.
It's incredible. I mean, what would Santa look like today if Coca-Cola had never gotten involved? It really makes you think.
Right. It's like this figure that we think of as timeless and traditional was actually shaped by marketing.
Mind-blowing. But Santa's side, there's no denying that Christmas has a massive economic impact. Think about all the spending on gifts, decorations, travel, food. It's huge.
Absolutely. One of the sources actually put a number on it, and it's something like billions of dollars in sales every year across all sorts of industries.
Wow. It's like its own economic engine.
Mhm.
But all that spending, it makes me think about the environmental impact, too. All that packaging, all the lights, the travel, it can't be very sustainable.
You're right. To bring that up, that's a really important point. There's definitely growing awareness of the environmental toll of Christmas. And, a lot of people are starting to look for ways to celebrate more sustainably.
Oh, like how?
Well, we're seeing trends like people choosing eco-friendly decorations, giving experiences instead of material gifts, and even sending digital greetings to cut down on paper waste.
Those are all great ideas. It's encouraging to see that kind of shift happening. As we've been talking about all these different aspects of Christmas, from the ancient origins to the commercialization to the environmental concerns, it really strikes me how adaptable this holiday is.
It really is. It's constantly evolving and changing with the times. And, one of the most interesting points our sources made was how Christmas is becoming more and more popular with people who aren't even Christian.
Really? You mean it's becoming more of a cultural holiday rather than a religious one?
It seems that way. It's a time for people of all backgrounds to come together and enjoy the festive spirit, regardless of their religious beliefs.
That's amazing. Christmas is going global. But is that a good thing? Or are we losing something important by separating it from its religious roots?
Well, it definitely reflects how societies are changing and becoming more diverse. And I think it also speaks to the fact that, at its heart, Christmas is about values that resonate with a lot of people, no matter what they believe.
Values.
Values like generosity, kindness, compassion, and the importance of connection. Those are universal human values that transcend any particular religion or culture.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's like Christmas reminds us of our shared humanity, even in a world that can feel very divided at times.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the heart of Christmas, the enduring spirit of the holiday that goes beyond all the material trappings. It's about generosity, compassion, and hope.
It's really incredible when you think about it, how we've gone from ancient Roman festivals to fried chicken dinners in Japan. It just shows how diverse and adaptable Christmas truly is.
It really does. But through it all, those core values of Christmas, the generosity, the kindness, the compassion, they've somehow managed to stay at the heart of it all.
Yeah, you're right. It's like no matter how commercialized or how globalized it gets, we always seem to come back to those fundamental values.
It's like a reminder, a reset button, a chance to focus on what really matters, connecting with loved ones, expressing gratitude, and showing kindness to those around us.
It is. It's like Christmas gives us permission to be giving a little more compassionate, a little more present in the moment. And I think that's something we could all use a little more of all year round.
Absolutely. Why limit those good vibes to just 1 month out of the year, right?
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Christmas, I'm left wondering, how will our listeners carry that Christmas spirit with them beyond the holiday season?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with. How will they cultivate those values of generosity, kindness, and hope in their own lives and in their communities, not just during the holidays, but all year long.
It's something to think about as you're stringing up those lights and wrapping those presents. But for now, we've journeyed from ancient Rome to modern-day Japan. We've unwrapped traditions, explored symbolism, and even pondered the economic and environmental impact of this global holiday. I think it's safe to say we've covered a lot of ground.
We've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But hopefully we've given everyone a little something to think about, a new perspective on this holiday that so many of us hold dear.
And on that note, from all of us here at The Deep Dive, we wish you a very happy holiday season filled with joy, connection, and maybe even a little bit of that Christmas magic. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive.